follow, John. But if I understand it correctly, John received the Bronze Star for his service as Lieutenant JG.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive. So thank you,
As
John.
most people can tell you, if they get one of those things, is you don't feel like you deserve it. Or a lot of other people deserve it. You just happen to be in a spot, and you did what you were trained to do.
Yep, we had a conversation, I'm sure it was alcohol induced, John, we had to convince him to tell the story, and I think it was like, well, there was like two choices, you know, go forward or not. So thank you, John, for sharing the story. He also shared with me that Kristen got to watch the story of the Samuel D. Roberts on like CNN, you know, from halfway across the world with no contact with John, so it's an amazing story. So with that, you know, we're gonna talk a little bit about what came after the Bronze Star, and he certainly came to ATI and spent a lot of time with Rich Harshman. So I know Rich reached out to you recently, whether it was text or by phone, but he wanted to make sure that we were clear. He's actually retiring, and we're gonna miss John. But Rich wanted me to share amongst your peers here that his thoughts that John was a true leader. John took on a lot of tasks in addition to always being the guy who got the call that said, hey, John, I got a gift for you. You know, take on this, take on that. And so it was about being a leader across multiple different challenges, including the flat factory floor. John and I have a similar affiliation for the first line supervisors who really do all the work in the company. Strong example of the values of the company. There was never a question with John about his values. And certainly, John also shared his thoughts, you know, and I think in a professional, this is for his family, a professional and constructive way. It wasn't so much a criticism, it was about, hey man, have you thought about it doing this way? So Rich was very clear. He gave me a list of accomplishments for John. It was actually quite a long list in terms of, you know, how does safety become a core value? That's not easy to do. Working hand in hand with customers that were not the easiest, but GE, Rolls-Royce, Pratt & Whitney, just name a few. And really to succeed when there wasn't really a clear strategy in many cases, but we knew what we needed to do as a company. Leadership, ring through in all these comments. So the Rowley Tie Sponge operation's another gift. That John, how would you like to spend your summer, winter, and fall in Utah? And John took it on, and they actually made tremendous accomplishments before events beyond their control took over, but it was a success. And actually we were with Boeing this week, and they're still complimentary about what we have in Raleigh. Even though we're not running it, even though they didn't want to buy anymore, they recognize the significant achievement and the long-lasting impact of that facility. The Tie Investment Casting business. John's hair was black when he started and gray when he finished, but there was no quit in John in terms of what needed to be done there. And certainly his loyalty to the company and his willing to respectfully challenge and contribute. So that was Rich. So Rich said, please extend my heartfelt congratulations and appreciation to John. I wish I could be there with you to celebrate this wonderful career and many contributions. So many impacts, you know, that Rich recognized. Now, in my lifetime, I would say, I accused John many times of having a sold out order book, so why the hell couldn't he make it numbers? When I was still booking 6 weeks.
Probably never need to forecast, you just have this.
Yeah, it's probably the only time he really got pissed at me. But John gave me some great advice, which was, you know, if you can't grow a losing business, you might as well shrink it. It wasn't quite that profound, but he was the only person who found a constructive path and was willing to chat with me about what might happen or what might be there. But you look at the achievements, and there's actually a pond in North Carolina, I think. I can never remember if it's Baker South, Baker's North, but I know the pond. Right?
It's Baker's North.
Baker's North. There's a pond where John, as a child, young man,
I was 8 years old.
fished with. Who did you fish with?
My grandfather.
Your grandfather. So we gotta get a sign in Sims Lake. I don't think it'll ever be on a North Carolina map.
No.
But for us, it will always be Sims Lake between Baker South and the airport. So it's amazing the connection that John has with ATI that goes back as far as it does. But Baker South, SANC, and the cost plus mindset that you had to deal with. certainly developing leaders, which I think I've run across a lot of people who said to me, yeah, John was a pretty profound influence on my life. We were with Lee Weber. We said, Lee, how the hell did you ever get to be a business unit president? It wasn't quite that way, but it was, and he said, well, John believed in me and he saw something in me and he gave me the opportunity. Very typical of the comments we got from a lot of people. Eric Martin, I can name a dozen people who said John gave me a chance and really believed in me, and that made a difference for them. Instrumental in supporting a strategy of One ATI with Rich, and certainly thinking about the business system, RIS, which continues today. And John was instrumental. It was a tough fight. I remember I'd just been named CEO and we had a meeting and he was asking me to sponsor something and I said something, what the hell are you asking me to sponsor? He said, look at page 4, that's what I want. And that's where the bluff chart was born, right? So if there was ever a time that we look back, we just recently had a board meeting and we ran out of time, but the bluff chart, the bottom line up front, was instrumental to Don's communication to the board, to Kim's communication to the board, all of us. So a lot of lasting impacts. And for me personally, I was fortunate that he stayed around probably longer than he really wanted to stick around, but we were on to something significant. He committed. I think he told me he was gonna retire in a year 3 times, in a row. Won't tell Kristen, but he hung with it and he was a great advocate for change. He was a great believer in the future of the company and he was a great colleague and then a great friend. And there's never a time that I talked to John that he wasn't all about doing the right thing and a true values guy. So with that, I do have something for you, John. It's around the corner here. We don't give these out to too many people, but you of all people have plenty of office space.
Oh, God.
And I knew
I am gonna be in so much trouble for this.
Your wife said, don't bring any more knickknacks.
She said, do not bring that Crystal Eagle home.
Well, you can hold the eagle.
Too bad.
Because I'll break it.
All right.
But it's, for those of you.
I know what it is.
Yeah, you know what it is. So, part of it is, it's an eagle in flight where a lot of energy is going into the wings. John never had a lack of energy for moving forward. He never had a lack of passion for doing the right thing. And this is an appreciation for your 25 years of dedicated. Of course, it had to be dedication because of the ATI has to be in there. To ATI and Allegheny Technologies Incorporated. So John, I can't tell you how much I appreciate what you did with me and for me. I'm not gonna shake your hand. John also taught me how to wear a do-rag, which I've never done.
You
in
have
my
done
life.
that.
So, from the entire ATI, which I get to represent 6,500 people across the world, all of who have met you at one time or another, thank you for everything you've done for each of us.
Thank you very much.
All right, with that, I'll turn it over
It's
to
not over.
Kevin Kramer.
No.
You don't get to speak yet. My grandkids are like, who the hell taught you to wear a do-rag? Only one guy. Thanks, John.
And my crowning achievement is we got these in the company store. Right? I mean, think about how hard that is.
And you do not get a commission.
No, I mean, just think about that.
You changed the
So-
culture.
See?
Changed the
Many
culture.
impacts.
So John, we have another friend of ours and friend of yours who also wanted to express their appreciation and his appreciation, and again, it's with the spirit of the service you provided our country. Dear John, congratulations on your retirement from Allegheny Technologies. You have dedicated your life and career to service, both in uniform as a Navy surface warfare officer and in your role as ATI, where you personally ensured the men and women in our military were provided with the very best materials and components to keep them safe, and that they had the best equipment that they had to conduct combat operations. Your own naval record is one of significant distinction, including the Bronze Star you were awarded for your successful leadership and teamwork to save the USS Samuel B. Roberts, FFG 58, when the ship struck a mine while on patrol in the Persian Gulf in April of 1988. I was serving in the Senate as a member of the Senate Arms Committee at the time, and I recall the harrowing episode involving Roberts. Thanks to the bravery and skill of you and your shipmates, the efforts to save the ship are still considered the model for Navy damage control and combat. Public service these days is not for the faint of heart, and I recommend you for, I commend you for choosing to be in the arena, as President Theodore Roosevelt said, in both your military and private sector career, and for devoting your time and energy to making our country better. I send my best personal regards to you and yours. Sincerely, William S. Cohen.
Wow. Very meaningful.
Very much deserved.
So you get to go, John, and then we have one last thing when you're done.
Not what I expected. I thought I was just gonna join you for dinner on your way back to the airport today, but, thank you for the memories and the thoughts and the friendship. Very meaningful. And that's what I, those days that I miss something, about ATI, don't miss the calls when we're talking about the next forecast. But or the endless earnings call preps, or I don't miss any of that. But I miss the chance to interact with you folks and our other folks that I was blessed enough to be given their care. As part of my career. But I never really thought about accolades and job titles and all that stuff in my time at ATI. It was always the mission. What are we trying to do? What's my job? How can I go after that? How can I do that? And I was fortunate to work with kindred spirits, who focused on the mission. Because it's a hard enough job, without having folks that are there with you, and that you're heading, for the right direction and everything else. And so when I hit that retirement date, there were a lot of people, mostly my family, who were very concerned about me is turning that switch and going, but I can honestly tell you that I felt like I did what I was supposed to do, and my time's up. It's someone else's turn, and that's you. And I have a lot of confidence, and you guys you'll face different challenges than I had to face during my time, and there'll be other opportunities you'll get a chance to look at in your time. But I have confidence that you'll stay the course, and so I don't worry about that at all, and it gives me a lot of comfort. I don't spend a lot of time reading news about ATI. I don't follow the stock price. I don't do anything. I just know you guys got it under control, and if you really want my opinion on something, you get a hold of me and ask me. Otherwise, I'm good. But it's been an honor and a pleasure to serve with you, and thank you very much for this.
Thanks.
Very meaningful.
Well,
So we have